You are on the road beyond. Welcome. I'm Todd Duplantis. Good to have you with us. We're coming to you today from the Houston City College Television Studios. My co-host, Doug O'Brien from Houston's Eagle, is here with us as well.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. You have a good, nice long weekend?
Yeah, I worked most of it.
Yeah.
So,
oh, well, didn't work out as well.
It's one of those things that stuff's got to get done.
Got to get done.
You got to do it.
Someone's got to pay the bills.
Make sure that
Spin those tunes.
Yes, make sure you like, follow, and share. As a matter of fact, I'm going back to the station after this.
Oh, okay.
Like, follow, and share. You can find us on all the social media accounts. Also on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel there, but we're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram, and you can follow Todd. He puts out little clips on X at Todd Duplantis 65.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Mostly it's just commenting on weird stuff that you can watch all that.
So it's just like your regular life.
Just like my regular life. Yeah. We're going to do something a little different today. A little bit more serious subject. Every week, Doug and I pull back the curtain on mysteries, legends, conspiracies from Bigfoot and Dogman to UFOs, and of course, shadowy government secrets. But today's story, this one's not fringe. No conspiracy theory, no wild imagination required. This is real. It's happening now in the streets, in convenience stores, in your neighborhood gas stations, and it's claiming victims by the day. And
that's not even the scariest part. It's not some back alley drug or cartel operation. This stuff is absolutely legal. You can walk into a smoke shop, a vape store, or a gas station and walk out with it, no questions asked.
So why haven't you heard of it? Why hasn't this story blown up across the news, right? Well, just a few weeks ago, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. held a press conference. He calls this drug a threat, something being marketed directly to kids. But here's the kicker. You probably didn't see it. Hardly anyone did. Mainstream media barely showed up. You can find a few articles if you dig, but it's almost like the whole thing got buried.
Which, when you really think about it, is quite unbelievable because what Kennedy and his team said was quite chilling. As a matter of fact, take a listen.
And they're marketed for children. They're gummy bears. They're bright colors. They're candy flavored.
It's legal, but it's an addiction that's ruining lives.
That's not fringe. That's not conspiracy. That's an official government warning that went largely ignored.
So today we're leaving the fringe highway behind and heading straight into the mainstream because if the networks won't cover this story, we will.
So, Todd, I know that this first landed on your radar when you saw a clip on X, a guy talking about being approached by a child at a gas station asking about this stuff.
Approached by a child. I mean, this kid, he was maybe 14 years old. And he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, can you buy me some Feel Free?" I didn't understand what he was talking about, but I said, "Do you need food or something?" And he said, "No, I need Feel Free." And I was like, "I'm sorry, no." And this young kid lunged at me and tried to take my wallet out of my hand. I grabbed it really fast and I just went inside. So I go inside, I grab my drink, I go up to the cashier and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, there's like some kid out there. He was asking me to buy something for him." And he tried to grab my wallet and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, it's this." And she pointed to this little blue bottle on the counter that I've never seen before.
Yeah, so that really shook me when you hear the story of this kid and how that happened. You know something is terribly wrong. Now, the drug's official name is 7-hydroxymitragynine, and it's derived from the Kratom plant, something originally marketed as all naturals. Companies pitch it as a way to relax, relieve pain, or even sharpen focus.
You'll see it in vape pens, gummies, liquids, even brightly colored energy pills. And they look absolutely harmless, but it's addictive and it's fast. And once it hooks you, the fallout can be devastating. The brand names are endless, too many to list. Some sound like candy, others sound like energy shots. It's sold under so many labels, and it can be hard to even recognize when you're buying it, and then it can be too late.
Now, this story gets personal for me. A family friend of mine, I spoke with this person a couple of times. They agreed to give me their story, but they wish not to be identified by gender, by age, or by name. So we're not doing that. This person is someone I've known from years. They vanished off my radar a few months ago. I texted, no response. Weeks went by. Then finally, a message came back. They checked themselves into rehab. At first, they didn't say much, that they were feeling better. But eventually they told me what happened. They picked up some vitamin energy pills from a local store, said it gave them a rush of energy, then a wave of euphoria. But within days, they were hooked. Soon after, they collapsed, seizures, a trip to the hospital. And when I asked what the drug was, they said 7-0, Kratom, sold everywhere. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some obscure issue. It was happening right close to here, to someone I care about.
But it didn't stop there, right, Todd? I mean, you actually reached out to the doctor that treated them.
I did. And where it gets even more personal for me, that doctor, it turns out to be a friend of mine, someone I turned to back in 2022 after my wife passed when I needed guidance through grief.
Well, we're going to continue this story through the rest of the show, and we'll have the doctor on in just a bit. But I want to add that I have had issues with my back for the last probably 2 to 3 decades. And I've taken all the painkillers you can possibly imagine, been to doctors like crazy. And when Kratom came on the scene, it was told to me by many people who were more homeopathic that you should try Kratom. And so I did my research on it, as everyone loves to say, but I read about it. And for any one positive thing I read about it, I read 2 or 3 negative things about it. And I had heard that people used it to get off of painkillers and stuff like that. But it was too scary. But the fact that they've gone from that to now breaking it down and putting it in gummies and just energy pills, it's frightening.
It's everywhere. You know, if you've been into these CBD shops, I remember going into one time and they were saying, well, you really should look at Kratom. I'm like, what exactly is Kratom? I don't know. It just didn't seem right for me. Wasn't something I was going to try. And ironically, I had seen that JFK press conference. I'd seen that testimony from the guy and that kid. And then when my friend came to me and said this was the reason why they went into rehab, I was like, we have to do this story. Why hasn't the mainstream media been covering this? That's why we're going to do it today.
Absolutely. And for me, it's the fact that there's not much information out there about it. There hasn't been a ton of research about the drug. And it's just, I don't think the mainstream audience knows a lot about it. And that's what's terrifying, because people are taking it and they may not even realize they're taking it.
It's terrifying. It's available everywhere. And we're going to tell you more about it and meet with that doctor and hear all about it coming up next.
I'm learning healthcare management while providing patient care.
I came back to grow my skills, even after I graduated.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Road Beyond podcast. I'm Todd Duplantis, and this is the show where we bravely navigate twists, turns, and occasional downright weird avenues of technology it leads us on. This show's a bit different, though.
Yes, I'm Doug O'Brien from Houston's Eagle, and if you watched the first segment of the show, you know that today we're covering something just a little bit different, and we're actually got a guest in house today.
Now, we laid out a frightening reality of a drug you can buy at neighborhood gas stations. In the first segment, we told you about a family friend who nearly lost their life after becoming addicted to it. And we shared warnings from Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But we want to dig deeper. What is this substance and what does it actually do to the brain and body?
Joining us right now is Dr. Kamal Shah. You're a behavioral neurologist. And tell us a little bit about how you treat. First of all, can you start? What is a behavioral neurologist for the average layperson?
So I'm applying the principles of neurology and addiction medicine and combining the two together. My background is in neurology and addiction medicine. And so behavioral neurologist fits better with what it is that I do, as opposed to just either one of those two.
Okay. So what can you tell us about Kratom, or it goes by the other name, hydroxy 7? Is that correct?
Yeah, 7-hydroxy.
7-hydroxy.
So when we talk about kratom and the plant itself, it's from Southeast Asia, and it's been used for hundreds of years by day laborers for energy, pain relief in a tea or chewing format. But what's happened, and the 7-mitragynine that you're seeing today is not what the plant actually is. It's a highly condensed version of it. It's like taking a cocoa leaf from the cocaine plant and then synthesizing it down into cocaine. And that's what you're getting with the 7-hydroxy.
Yeah, it's called, I know it, and you corrected me on this, but initially I heard it called, I think the RFK Jr. called it gas station heroin, but that's a different substance you're saying. This is different from that.
Yeah, so what I classically heard as gas station heroin was tetiapine, which is a antidepressant marketed in Europe. But what this is a highly concentrated form of kratom. And so it has the same receptor effects as heroin does. So it does fit in terms of the description of it. The 7-hydroxy kratom has effects on the mu receptor, and that has an opioid-like effect, as in like morphine or oxycodone or hydrocodone. So it's really synonymous with the two.
Okay.
So I can see why people have that mistaken.
I want to take these separately. The 7-hydroxy comes from kratom, correct?
Yes.
What about kratom itself? You said it had been used for centuries, right, in Southeast Asia. Is kratom dangerous in and of itself?
So that's really interesting, right? So if I was to, but probably about 5 years ago is when I first heard about kratom, and it was from a patient of mine who was an opioid addict.
Mm-hmm.
And he was taking kratom that he purchased at a head shop in order to kind of relieve the symptoms that he was having from those particular things. And when he purchased it, it was in these 8-ounce bags, and he would chew these leaves, and he would get some sort of a euphoric effect after he took 8 ounces of it. And so he was chewing these leaves all day long, trying to get the stuff out of it.
Right.
But what you're getting today is nowhere near that. The potency and the concentration that you're getting today in the gummies, in the vapes, and in the different substances and the liquid forms that the liquid shots that you're getting are so much more concentrated. And within the last 6 months, the effects that we're seeing and the patients that I'm seeing coming in addicted to that has gone up dramatically.
Here's a question I have for you, because I'm wondering from this perspective, are the people that are getting hooked on this drug, which you can go to literally any gas station and find it, I've seen Feel Fine in stores all over, are they former addicts and alcoholics, or do you see people who've never even tried stuff like this before getting addicted to it?
So it's basically two camps that I see.
Yeah.
The first camp is they have no idea how they found me or why they're in my office, but they can't get off of it.
Yeah.
And they're having these symptoms. They go to their primary care physician, and their primary care physician says, you need to go see an addiction medicine doctor, because I really don't know what's going on. The second subset that I'm seeing are patients that are in recovery, that are sober, and they go to a head shop or like a smoke shop or a vape shop.
Or just a gas station.
And they see something on the counter and they're like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. Maybe this is a 5-hour energy drink, and they take a shot of it. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, I really like how this feels.
Yeah.
And then they go take another one, and then take another one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're going around from store to store to store because they've run out of it, and all of a sudden they're addicted to it. And there's severe withdrawal effects that occur from it.
I want to get to that too. The withdrawal effects, you were talking to me before the show about these. That's pretty terrifying. I mean, it seems to me you get addicted to the substance very quickly. You get hooked on it, but then the withdrawal effects are just mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I've been doing this addiction medicine stuff for the last 5 years, and it's really cropped up in the last year or the last 6 months, where I've seen more and more patients come into the hospital withdrawing from kratom that I've never seen before. And I think what's happened is that they've recently started marketing the 7-hydroxy and putting those on the shelves, and so patients are getting addicted to the 7-hydroxy versus the kratom itself.
Now, how does the withdrawal from the kratom or 7-hydroxy compare to withdrawal from the mainstream narcotics that are out there? Is it similar?
the patients that I've had that are heroin addicts will tell me that it is so much worse.
Wow.
Really?
And I didn't believe them at first because it was like the first two that I saw, I'm like, all right, I don't believe you at all. You're an addict. There's a lot of hyperbole that goes on with that. But I kept seeing it over and over and over again. The traditional methods that I use to like get patients off of fentanyl, I can't use with the Kratom because it's a different type of withdrawal and one that we're not used to. And I believe what's going on based upon the symptomology and the things that are coming up is that the Kratom releases a high amount of dopamine into the system. And so what they're withdrawing from is not an opioid as much as a dopamine. So patients come in and they're twitching and they're shaking and they can't really feel a sense of like they can't settle into their body. And this goes on for 3 days. So I had probably around 40 or 50 patients in the last year that we've treated for Kratom. In the first 10 that came into the hospital, I couldn't treat them. I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't know what I was seeing until I got to the 10th patient. And I was like, you probably need ICU care because the amount of Kratom that you were taking and the amount of 7-hydroxy you're taking was so high that I didn't know how else to treat them, but then put them into a medically induced, not a coma, but like a muscle blockade, which then allowed for them to actually quiet down and the shaking to stop.
So so traditional medicines like Belbuca, Suboxone, Narcan are not effective?
They weren't working.
Wow. Really?
So for the first 10 patients that I had, I tried them on Valium, I tried them on Suboxone, I tried them on phenobarbital, I tried them on clonidine, and none of those things worked because the amount of withdrawal they were experiencing from the dopamine effects.
Traditional medicine just does not know how to treat this. How have you been able to figure out a plan for these patients? Because from what I understand, there aren't many people out there besides yourself that are treating this specific drug addiction.
Yeah. So the first 10 patients, I'm so sorry if you're out there. I just didn't know what to do. And I think because we're addressing it as a behavioral neurologist, as opposed to an addiction medicine doctor, we were looking at what was happening with these patients. And you could tell that it was a severe dopamine withdrawal because you don't get the restless leg and the anxiety unless it's a dopamine withdrawal. So the euphoria that they're feeling from the high that they're getting from the drug itself is what then leads to the crash. And that's why it's so addictive so quickly, especially for taking the 7-hydroxy.
Well, explain the difference there. So if it's the morphine withdrawal from the opiate, that is one type of withdrawal. And so how is the dopamine withdrawal different than the opiate withdrawal?
So the opiate withdrawal, what I'm expecting from them is lacrimation, crying, runny nose, body aches and pains, stomach cramping, and diarrhea. Right? They get that probably around day 3. But that first day, they are shaking, twitching. They can't sit in their bodies. I'll have patients come in, they're laying in their bed and they're twitching, right? They just can't get comfortable.
Man.
And I would give them decent amounts of phenobarbital and decent amounts of Ativan, and that none of that was working.
Really?
So the first 10 patients would leave. They're like, you're not helping me. You're not doing anything, right? Until I finally brought them down into the ICU and put them on muscle blockades.
How widespread is this problem? I mean, you've only scratched the surface with this, and you said it's only been prevalent in the past year, maybe really the last 6 months. In your estimation, how widespread is this problem?
I don't know how many people are going out there and purchasing it at the levels that the patients that finally come into the hospital are purchasing it at. The patients that are coming into the hospital are spending about $100 to $200 a day on the Kratom itself.
And this is a legal substance, folks. We're not talking illegal.
And their behavior patterns is so indicative of someone who's got an opioid addiction. Because they're going from head shop to pawn shop to smoke shop to another shop to try to find the brand that they have or the thing that they need. And so they're spending their entire day looking for this particular substance.
Now, let's talk about that, because you were talking about the different brands. Because there's no real regulation, do you see different strains or different brands affecting different ways?
So because there's a dose-related response to what effect you're going to be getting, at lower dosing, you get a euphoric effect, a sharpness, and that's all from the dopamine side of it.
Right.
And so it's being marketed as an ADHD supplement. So it's like alertness, sharpness, get more clarity. But as you go up to higher and higher doses, you start getting the opioid-like effects. And so what you're seeing in those particular things is there's being marketed for pain relief, come off of the opiates. And depending upon how it is, the higher the dosing and the more 7-hydroxy you're getting, the more addictive it becomes. So I see a lot of patients starting off with it's for sharpness and that side. I don't really see those patients coming into the hospital. The ones I see coming into the hospital is the ones that had back pain or like some sort of injury that they were using kratom as opposed to an opioid.
Right.
My family friend who you treated, this person stated they were taking it as energy pills in the beginning. Is that what it's marketed as? And how quickly can you get addicted to this stuff?
The patients that I've talked to said that it comes on really quickly, probably in about 3 weeks or so. But the ones that describe it that way are the ones that were previously addicted to something else and had like high tolerance for their dopamine levels, and the amount that they were taking just increased quickly. I haven't really treated that many kids because I think because their brains are so resilient that if they come off of it, then they're fine. But the problem that I see with young people and with what's going on with that is that this is their first introduction to an opioid-like substance. That to an addiction medicine person is really scary.
And you don't have to go getting doctors to give them to you. You just go find them at the gas station.
So 20 years ago, patients like young kids, their first introduction to an opioid-like substance was when they were like sifting through their parents' medicine cabinets. And they're like, oh, what's this? Let me try this out. As opposed to now, they're going into a smoke shop and they're buying their vapes at 18 years old. And all of a sudden, this is marketed right next door to it.
Now, do you see, excuse me, the same issue like with opiates? People get, the body adjusts, right, to where you need more and more opiates to get the same effect. Do you see the same problem with the kratom, that whatever you take in the beginning, 3 weeks later, you need more because your body is adjusting?
Tolerance.
Yeah. So what the hedonic set points, the very first time you take anything that's dopaminergic, you release the most amount of dopamine that you're ever going to release from that particular substance. And so every other time you're chasing that same dopamine release. And so they go from, 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams. The highest I've seen someone come in on was 600 milligrams of 7-hydroxy.
A dose?
A day.
Oh, a day. Okay.
I could not believe it, right? It blew my mind as to how quickly they had gone up to that particular dosing.
Well, addicts call it chasing the high.
Yeah, you're
that always chasing.
You're always going to be chasing that initial high.
Yeah.
FDA, mainstream media, they don't seem to be paying attention to this. What's it going to take? I mean, are people dying off this stuff? Have you heard of that?
So I haven't heard of anyone dying off of it. And so what's probably happening is that they're not really focused on it because there's still the fentanyl stuff that's going on out there.
Right.
And so because it's not FDA regulated and it's not illegal, it's kind of floating underneath the radar for right now. My suspicion is that once it starts affecting kids and it starts affecting that population, because it's being marketed all over TikTok.
Yeah.
All over TikTok, all over Instagram, all over those things, and kids that are exposed to that are like, oh, well, this is safe, right? Let me start taking this. I haven't seen anyone die from it, but I have seen some severe addiction or some severe dependency on it.
Which can ruin your life.
It can ruin
absolutely.
your life.
The dependency, like I mentioned earlier, I've taken painkillers for years because of my back, because they can't do surgery, so they treat it. I had been mentioned, kratom had been mentioned to me, but what do people need to look out for? If there are parents watching or even kids with their friends, what are some signs that someone may be taking it? Someone may be taking it, or it may be too much.
So for the obvious signs are the sedation and the sleepiness and the tiredness, but that's really going to be difficult to tell. What I would really look out for is excessive going to the smoke shops, like bills from the head shop, bills from the smoke shops, or they are obsessive about their energy pills or their energy shots.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, if you find one bottle of kratom laying around, odds are that's not the first time that they've taken it. It's probably something more insidious going on with that.
Dr. Kamal Shah, real quickly, where can people get a hold of you? I know you have a website and a phone number.
Yeah, so the website for clinic is aftercaredoctors.com, and the phone number for clinic is 832-631-9091.
And we will have that in our social media post as well, so you can find it there. It's something people need to know about. That's why we're talking about this today. 7-hydroxy, kratom as it's known, and it's available everywhere, folks. It's scary. Be on the lookout for it. Dr. Kamal Shah, thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a short break, then we'll lighten things up a bit with
Bare Necessities
on its way.
I'm not just studying AI, I'm designing solutions to make the world a better place for us all.
I didn't just study buildings. I connected them with tech to make them smarter.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
Kids will be kids, which just goes to say kids will be curious. They get into everything, everything. If there's a loaded firearm in the house, they could get their hands on that too. Keeping firearms locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition in a place inaccessible to kids can help keep your loved ones safe from family fire. Safe gun storage saves lives.
Welcome back to the Road Beyond podcast. Yeah, I'm Todd Duplantis. But they know me by now.
I know, but still, I'm Doug O'Brien. I don't trust anybody to remember anything. But there's nothing like enjoying a birthday party, whether you're man or pooch.
Yeah, take a look at this dog. This is a dog where they're literally singing the birthday song to him, and he decides to just sit back, relax, and just enjoy the show. Very human.
That right there.
He's just chilling, having a good time.
I've seen more videos of dogs acting human.
Yeah, you've got another one you sent me.
Yeah.
Show that next show.
I can't wait.
Something you look forward to. Hey, 3-1 Atlas is back in the news. We're going to break some crazy stuff down in the next week.
Okay.
Yeah, another story on that.
That thing, it keeps getting closer and people are saying
We
stuff.
don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Is it alien? Is it a projectile from the future? Just a strange space rock? We'll break it all down and show you some new pictures that people say are hiding something.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I hadn't heard this one. Okay,
we'll
I can't wait. I'm going to show up next week.
Yeah, good. Have a great week, folks. Thanks for being here and joining us today.
Take care.
Kids will be kids, which just goes to say kids will be curious. They get into everything, everything. If there's a loaded firearm in the house, they could get their hands on that too. Keeping firearms locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition in a place inaccessible to kids can help keep your loved ones safe from family fire. Safe gun storage saves lives.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.